So here we have Australian Islamic State women and their children trying to come to Australia from their camp in Syria after the collapse of the caliphate. Some of the children have now been used to plea to let them in.
I want to go home because my family's there and I want to go to school and I want to learn more things. I want to be a doctor. I want to go to Australia because Australia is a beautiful country with very beautiful, kind people. When we had to turn back, I was very upset. I was heartbreaking.
I get it. If only their parents had appreciated how good Australia was before joining an Islamist group dedicated to destroying societies like ours. And the Australians who are over there helping these Islamic State families, they've actually denied now the Albanese government's helped them. Jamal Rifi, a man who actually raised money for the Immigration Minister Tony Burke for his campaign, sounded angry about it.
If the Prime Minister doesn't care about his own citizens, why should we help them?
He doesn't sound like a man who's going to help Tony Burke by raising more election money in a seat that is 25% Muslim and where the Muslim vote actually formed to run candidates against him. So we shall see what happens next election. But if you think the Albanese government has still been too soft, you've got to look at Britain's Green Party, which is the epitome, like the Green Party here, the epitome of Western suicidal sympathy. It is promising even illegal immigrants a free home and a basic wage for doing, it's just sitting around and doing nothing. Joining me from London is GB News star host Patrick Christys. Patrick, always lovely to talk to you. What are the Greens promising and why?
Well, the Green Party's promises and policies make a lot more sense when you realise that they also want to legalise crack cocaine and heroin. And if they win the next election, I think I might need some. Promising every single illegal migrant will get a house, illegal families will have a full house, single men will have a room in a house unless they are gay, in which case they will have their own property entirely for their own protection. But interesting in this, protection from who, Andrew? Are they admitting that potentially some illegal migrants might be from deeply homophobic cultures? They're going to pay them all a universal basic income, give them no requirement to work. If they do want to work, they can work from day one, which is good news, because obviously this country will be full of doctors and engineers, will be building things and just resuscitating people on the street non-stop. It'll be fantastic. But all of this is because they believe literally in a world without borders. And they've said that they won't deport anyone, even if they've had their asylum claim rejected. Now, last night on my show, I showed footage of a man in the back of a lorry on his way to Britain, waving a knife around in a stabbing motion. And the Green Party would look at that man and give him a house and a wage, and potentially, if he wants it, some drugs.
Honestly. I guess it's all been timed for a crucial by-election for a seat in Manchester that has been a Labor stronghold, Patrick. It's a seat so changed by mass immigration that policies like that will probably appeal. So changed that the Greens have put out a campaign video for their candidate that's entirely in Urdu and featuring the war in Gaza, demonising reform, claiming Muslims will be rounded up, claiming they suffer Islamophobia, and even dubbing the Greens candidate in Urdu. Here it is.
रोकने के लिए ग्रीन को वोट ना दे।
मेरा नाम हना स्पेंसर है। मैं ग्रीन पार्टी की उम्मीदवार हूँ।
Now, I gather from that, Patrick, that they had to run an Urdu language ad for the Greens, that the Muslim community in Manchester is not entirely well integrated.
No, you'd be right in that assumption. That it turns out that the requirement to speak English or indeed understand basic things about Britain's way of life, it just doesn't exist there in that particular part of Manchester. A campaign advert entirely in Urdu. They then ran one entirely in Bengali as well. And the message went out, seriously, to members of the Muslim community that they would be, quote, pilloried by their own community if they didn't vote Green. And the Green Party candidate has permanently had a kafir on. She's been to every single mosque in the area. Apparently, there are 14 mosques in that one constituency in Greater Manchester, which is not a particularly large constituency. Of course, because she's a female candidate, when she goes into the mosques, she can't sit with the men, so she has to send a man in with her to tell the men that they should vote for this particular woman. And it's all about Gaza, 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 Gaza. And Labour now, the Labour Party, have had the cheek to say that the Green Party are trying to weaponise the Muslim community in Britain. Well, pot kettle black, I'm afraid, because they've been trying to do that for the last however many decades. But the point here is this is one little microcosm, but this is going to be happening in every single constituency in Britain at the next election. And it is a pretty devastating state of affairs. And the fact is that they can swing the Muslim vote in a lot of seats, will dictate who wins at the next election. And it's remarkable, really, when you think about how far we've fallen in that sense from traditional British society.
You know, as you know, Patrick, we've had this huge debate here about importing foreign conflicts and resentments and ethnic tribal resentments, all that thing. I mean, it's just been a nightmare. So one particularly disturbing image from that green ads I showed, appealing for the Muslim vote, is this graphic of your Prime Minister shaking the hand of India's Hindu Prime Minister. Now, I assume that this is an attempt by the Greens to exploit anti-Hindu hatred among British Muslim voters, which seems to me, a word I've used before, suicidal.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is it. We have seen pitched battles in certain parts of the country, in places like Leicester, between aspects of the Hindu community and aspects of the Muslim community. It is an attempt to weaponize that hatred, really. Any picture that anyone's ever had with Netanyahu or anything with the Israeli flag, anything involving the Hindus, I mean, that is a serious problem and not a good one when it comes to integration. But you've got to look at these candidates like Hannah Spencer there, that kind of young working class woman, white woman and Christian heritage woman, which is relevant here, of course. And you think, does she understand what she's really doing here, really? Because I think she's being used. I think she's being used by a more militant group of people. The official party of Islam was rejected in this country at the last election because it didn't meet electoral standards. So what's the next best plan? Infiltrate a party that already exists and try to use that to further your own ends. And I think that's what we are seeing now here in Britain, and it should concern people.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the same thing here, an alliance of the Greens with radical Islam, etc. It's like, we have the same enemies. We hate colonial Australia too, you know. We hate this culture, we hate capitalism, Israel being capitalist, we hate all that. It's an alliance that I think is really anti-Western civilization, and boy, is that a threat. Patrick Christys, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.